A very good evening to you tuned into UBC TV. Welcome to News Tonight, this Thursday, the 10th of June, 2021. We'll start with a look at the top stories. In our top stories tonight, President Museveni defends the new lineup of ministers. 2021-22 budget, 6.9 trillion set aside to cater for secure environment for economic growth. Bus owners directed to refund money to students, while Joe Biden says the US stands with European allies ahead of Putin summit. UBC News Tonight. Welcome aboard. My name is Micheal. Lukomwa. Elizabeth Nakakoni joins in for sign language interpretation. President Kaguta Museveni has defended the new lineup of ministers, likening it to the way Jesus selected his disciples. Museveni says to come up with the list, he personally vetted the names of those he saw fit to be ministers in the new cabinet. He was presiding over the 2021-22 budget reading at Kololo Independence Grounds. Museveni also commented on the recent assassination attempt on General Edward Katumba Wamala, saying that government will prioritize the security of the country. We have details to the report.
President Museveni has revealed that he has high hopes in his recently named cabinet. Drawing from the story of Jesus Christ, who went along the shores of Lake Galilee in the hunt for disciples abandoning the Pharisees who are regarded as intellectuals then, Museveni highlighted that the new cabinet is one he burnt the midnight candle for, dotting the I's and crossing the T's.
Jesus did not recruit Pharisees. He did not recruit Levites. To recruit the other one, Sadducees. He went for Simon Peter. And he went for the other ones. Of course, he had also some intellectuals, because I'm told that Luke was a doctor. So please, when you look at my list, know that I'm in the path of Jesus Christ. Because I was underground, I was working alone, because you know these things are quite when you are comparing the list, you are under very big threat. So I was operating underground alone. This is one area where I don't need assistance.
On the general security situation in the country, Museveni indicated that the measures he had earlier laid before Parliament should be effected.
In my 2018 speech, I spoke about the digital monitors to be installed in every vehicle, every piki-piki. That project was delayed. I don't know why it delayed. General Tumwine was handling it. Even Katumba was involved in that project. This morning I was talking with the new Minister of State proposed Minister for Internal Affairs, David Moses. What happened to my project? Why has it not been implemented? Because I don't want any more wasting time in investigations. Every vehicle must have a digital monitor. Every piki-piki must have a digital monitor, centrally monitored.
On the assassination attempt on General Katumba Wamala, Museveni says this was one which was politically motivated.
It's not that it's crime. No. This was a definite political motive, and we shall know which pig was behind this one. Because there are different pigs. Now, this business, people who use assassination, these are people who are not sure of themselves. They are the ones who use assassinations. NRM never uses assassinations.
In the 2020-2021 budget read by Honorable Amos Lugolobi, government has set aside 6.9 trillion Ugandan shillings to cater for the creation of a peaceful and secure environment for economic growth in the country. On the economic outlook, Museveni said the country will put emphasis on value addition and advocating for appropriate tax regimes. Samuel Senono, UBC News.
The Member of Parliament for Ntenjeru, Amos Lugolobi, has presented the 44.7 trillion budget for the financial year 2021-2022. In the new budget, there is an increase of 12% on airtime, and OTT will be scrapped to widen tax collection, among others. Ivan Kahwa was in Kololo and in our reports.
Process involving
Usually, Minister for Finance presents the budget, but before the vetting process is complete, the President is mandated to choose who presents the budget. The appointed Minister of State for Finance in charge of planning and Member of Parliament in Ntenjeru North, Amos Lugolobi, has presented the national budget 2021-2022 at Kololo Independence Ground.
Economic growth for this financial year is projected at 3.3%. rising from 3% last financial year.
In the budget, Uganda's economy size has grown from 108.5 trillion in 2016-2017 to 148.3 trillion. Human capital development has bagged the biggest share of the national budget with 7.7 trillion, followed by security with 6.9 trillion shillings. 560 billion has been provided for the procurement of vaccines. The National Medical Stores budget has been increased from 420.3 to 600.3 billion. 124.9 billion has been provided for rural water and 523.4 billion for urban water to improve sanitation. 134.9 billion has been allocated to enhance digitization of the economy. 1.67 trillion to support agro-industrialization initiatives.
The agro-industrialization strategy will address low production and productivity of primary agriculture, poor harvest, handling and storage, limited value addition, and insufficient market access.
1.1 trillion for the development of energy infrastructure and services. 5.1 trillion for integrated transport infrastructure and related services. 358.5 billion for innovation and technological development. Judiciary funding has been enhanced from 199.1 billion to 376.9 billion.
The proportion of cases that are over 2 years old have reduced from 24% in 2017 to 17.5% in 2021.
To widen domestic local revenue collection, a 12% tax on airtime shall be introduced.
Value-added services and internet data, excluding data for provision of medical services and the provision of education services.
An export levy of 7% on the value of fish meal exports, 5% and 10% on processed and unprocessed gold and other minerals respectively.
And number 6, close all bonded warehouses for imported sugar for re-export to avoid undeclaration and misclassification. These administrative measures will generate about 800 billion shillings in revenue collections.
Uganda's debt burden stands at 63 trillion shillings, and one of the key components to sustain this is to prioritize borrowing.
Equivalent to 49.8% of GDP. Uganda will not default on repayment of its debt. All contractual debt obligations will be fully honored.
The budget has been read under the theme Industrialization for Inclusive Growth, Employment and Wealth Creation. Ivan Kahwa, UBC News at Kololo.
Kampala City Traders Association Kasita has proposed that government reduces on the number of members of parliament and boost agriculture. The spokesperson Kasita, Issa Sechito, says that more funds can be allocated to close gaps in the economic sector and help Ugandans recover from the COVID-19 strains.
As the national budget for the year 2021-2022 was presented, Kampala City Traders Association Kasita propose that more funds allocated to the security sector be used to revamp the economy. Issa Sechito of Kasita proposes that government focuses more on agriculture, which contributes to 70% of the economy.
Security is very vital, security is very important, but through what we call priority budgeting, we should have gotten a sector each year that we dedicate. We have done this to the economy, we did it to the electricity, we've done it for security all the years. What is it that is preventing us from dedicating a budget to the agriculture boosting, especially during this COVID time?
About the 3.5 trillion that came from IMF to support the business community recover from the pandemic, Sechito says the criteria was put in place for everyone to gain.
Lots of money have been dispersed by the IMF, by the World Bank to arrest the COVID pandemic and its disastrous effects. How is it utilized? How are the businesses that have closed being helped through the budget process to recoup so that the closed businesses can receive capital and then do business again, so that they pay the taxes when they are operating, the businesses are live? What we are going to use is almost equal to what we are being demanded. Servicing this external debt is as expensive as nothing. Now a lockdown is looming. Even closing a district that you are not going to cross from Kampala to Ruwero, Kampala to Mbarara, the customers that we sell to do not come from Wachiso, do not come from Kampala. They come from as far as Uganda ends.
2020, if you looked at the amendments, they were responding to the COVID-19. Not comprehensively, but still a response. One of the things that we needed in the 2021 is still a further response to the COVID-19, because the effects of the pandemic will be seen even in the next 10 to 20 years. So there is still need for a consistent relief system.
He says that the fish bill that were passed in Parliament would be a good move for a developing country like Uganda, but the burden is not rational.
Is it not that it is the same people that are being targeted for paying rent, for paying VAT, for paying for fuel, for paying all this? Are they not the same people that are being targeted? A tax should be like a bottle principle. Each bottle stands on its own bottom. If it is a big bottle, it stands on a big bottom, and respectively.
Meanwhile, issues like corruption, insecurity, economic revamp, among other factors, need address if Uganda is to achieve middle-income status. Shaidat in Nasaku, UBC News.
The women leaders that President Yoweri Museveni trusted with cabinet positions have been advised to pursue excellence that will vindicate the president's decisions. This was by National Women Council Chairperson Hajat Farida Chimboa at the council's offices in Tinda.
President Yoweri Museveni has continued to be praised for entrusting women with cabinet positions. The latest has been National Women Council Chairperson Hajat Farida Chimboa. 14 of the 32 cabinet ministers are women, constituting a 44% share, and 22 out of the 52 state ministers are women, constituting 43.9%. This has been lauded by National Women Council Chairperson Hajat Farida Chimboa, who advises the women leaders to work diligently for the president to be vindicated.
As a woman leader at a national level, I will want to advise all these women to work hand in hand with women, fellow women. Women have a tendency of bringing other women down. But by the president appointing you in that office as a woman, he's expecting you to change the lives of other women. So this is what we are expecting from them. So when a woman knocks on your door and you're seated in your office as a woman, just open a door for a fellow woman and understand her problems. If you have a solution, you help her solve the problem.
Notable among the ladies in the next cabinet include Vice President Jessica Alupo, Prime Minister Robin Anabanja, First Deputy Prime Minister Rebecca Kadaga, and incoming State Minister Joyce Sebugwao.
Story by John Barnes Sentamu. Government has established the National EWaste Collection Center on the 6th Street industrial area to deal with the growing amount of e-waste and effects it poses to the environment and human life. Electronic waste or e-waste refers to the electronic or electrical waste and its parts that are being discarded. Establishment of this facility is hinged on the 2012 e-waste management policy that was established in the country.
Since 2006, the National Environment Management Authority, NEMA, has been working closely with the Ministry of Information, Communications Technology and National Guidance, the National Enterprise Corporation and other stakeholders who form the National E-Waste Steering Committee to institute an e-waste management infrastructure.
NEMA as an authority established by government, one of its responsibilities is to ensure that waste does not cause contamination, does not affect the public. So by establishing this center, we have accomplished one of our obligations of managing waste. And now, NEC, National Enterprise Corporation, through Rural Industries, is going to manage the center.
E-waste refers to all electrical and electronic waste and all its parts whose use has expired.
All of us know they have a short lifespan. Everything eventually has to die. So if we do not manage that process of how we recoup that equipment from the public, we put everybody's health at risk.
The United Nations Global E-Waste Monitor Report shows that in 2018, the e-waste generated in Uganda was estimated at 17 million kilograms, with a projection of 4.5 million kilograms of e-waste per annum to be generated annually from 2018 to 2022.
For your information, NEC, as ED members said, has been dealing in waste management. Annually, we manage about 500 tons of waste in rural industries. So this is an added assignment of e-waste that we are going to put in place.
The public will therefore collect all e-waste in designated locations while they wait for community collection endeavors by government, because most electronics contain toxic materials including beryllium and cadmium, which have serious effects on the environment. Wadulo Makanod, UBC News.
Uganda and Czech Republic signed defense cooperation agreement today with an aim to establish and enhance bilateral defense cooperation between the two countries. The outgoing State Minister for Defense in charge of general duties, retired Colonel Charles Engola, and counterpart Thomas Kepon, the Czech Republic Deputy Minister for Defense, Industrial Cooperation, signed the Memorandum of Understanding for their respective countries. The signing of the MOU cements the cordial relationship between Uganda and the Czech Republic. The signing follows prior engagements between the two countries in 2016 when retired Colonel Engola led a delegation of the senior UPDF officers to Prague and participated in the Future Forces Forum seminar. In his remarks, Dr. Kopeng, the Deputy Minister for Defense, Industrial Cooperation, said that the Czech Republic cherishes the partnership with Uganda. The cooperation involves exchange of information, technologies, and partnerships to strengthen the UPDF through finding new partnerships given the history of the two countries.
Uganda, Czech Republic, Uganda engaged in. No doubt, Czech Republic is an economic and industrial heartland in Eastern Europe, and Uganda has been continuously opening up trade linkages across the world. Indeed, Uganda has been taking up any opportunity that promises to deliver trade and export opportunities. I am therefore very happy that today you are here on a special visit as we look forward to the process of formalizing the matters which were discussed and agreed upon some time back. I want to, we shall look forward to exchanging.
It's no secret that ICT makes learning easy.
The strides made in our field could not be possible without it.
And now we can watch our favorite show.
My radio is my best friend.
UCC provides an enabling regulatory environment and policy guidance for healthy competition. We also facilitate ease of doing business in the communications sector through licensing, standardization, spectrum management, tariff regulation, rural communication development, and consumer empowerment. An informed consumer is an empowered consumer. UCC supports local content and innovations. Driving the development of a robust communication sector in Uganda is Uganda Communications Commission.
In chess, the small one can become the big one. It's the same here. And here too. Watch every move. Record every number so you can plan better. No matter the size of your dream, tomorrow's success belongs to those who keep today's records clean. File your returns today.
Uganda Revenue Authority, developing Uganda together.
What does it mean to be closer together? It's taking the last bus home for a surprise visit. Closer together is strangers finding a connection. It's bringing home something much more than a box. It's the warmth of home, or the beginning of something new. There's magic in sharing the things that we love, because it's those things that bring us close together.
UBC News Tonight. The situation at Namaiba bus terminal has normalized after government transported most of the stranded to their nearest destinations to their homes. Ismail Mulindwa, the Director of Basic and Secondary Education at the Ministry of Education and Sports, says that government stationed buses that will evacuate all the remaining students who are continuously storming the bus terminals.
As you can see in the background, yesterday this whole tent was full to capacity. But right now, the students are few, scattered on different seats. However, the only challenge is these students are coming in slowly. It has been brought to our attention that some of the students who could not make it yesterday called the others to come and also be helped, just like the way government has done. And what government has also done, which is a very good thing, is they've stationed buses. We can see Makere University buses or buses that are seated here to ensure that even those who are coming slowly by slowly, who are coming one by one. Some of the students we found at the bus terminals who had missed out on the free government transport means last evening say they arrived at the park after the last bus had left and were forced to spend a night at the bus station.
My name is Nakakoni. I am in primary 6 and I'm very happy that they have put buses for us to go back to our homes.
The reason why I'm here right now, yesterday I think I came late because I came at 7 in the evening. Then I found that the bus has just left. So I had, of course, to sleep here, wait for today.
However, Ismail Mulindwa, the Director of Basic and Secondary Education at the Ministry of Education, asserted that some of the students who are still at the bus terminals were notified by their friends that government had provided free transport means.
Many of these students you see here are not coming from schools. Majority of them are coming from homes and were planning maybe to stay with their parents. But when they had this opportunity here, now colleagues are calling them saying, you know, you come, there's an opportunity here.
The
reason as to why I delayed, because I still had some issues to sort with my hostel. So I had to delay and decided to travel today.
Meanwhile, Nelson Sekandi of Namaiwa Bus Terminal explained that they are working in handy with the Ministry of Education to ensure these students head to their homes.
I don't think that we're expecting more students to come, but suppose they come, I'm sure we can connect with the Ministry of Education since we've been connecting with them, and we see how to transport them because we can't make them stranded here in the park.
However, by press time, coaches scheduled to drop the remaining students from eastern districts of Jinja, Iganga, Mbale and Soroti were still loading. Helen Barbara Jizamba reporting for UBC TV News.
The head of the State House Anti-Corruption Unit, Kano Edith Nakalema, has directed all bus owners to refund the money to pupils and students who were transported back home by government vehicles. Nakalema accused bus operators for hiking transport fares during this crisis of COVID-19, which she says was not called for. She communicated this during a meeting with the bus owners and operators at the office of the Prime Minister in Kampala.
For the past 2 days following a partial lockdown of 42 days on public transport, schools and higher institutions of learning, among other restrictions given by President Museveni, those in the transport sector used the chance to hike transport fares to different destinations. Over the last 2 days, travelers and students were seen stuck and spending cold nights on bare grounds due to scarce vehicles. Following the uncalled for crisis, the head of State House and Corruption Unit, Kano Edith Nakalema, moved in swiftly with other government officials to avert the situation in which innocent students found themselves victims at the hands of the unscrupulous bus operators. This afternoon, the head of State House and Corruption Unit, Kano Edith Nakalema, ordered all bus operators and owners to refund the money paid by the students who were later transported by government vehicles.
Tomorrow is 11th. We can't count today. Tomorrow is Friday 11th. We expect ready to pay back the money by Friday 18th. Again, it is very easy because government is not asking you for any money. Us in the offices, we don't expect you to come and ask us how much was paid. No.
However, Nakalema accused the Ministry of Transport for sleeping on job, leaving Ugandans to suffer, but warned transport operators never to hike transport fares in such trial moments of life.
If police will not do their work, all your officers in the Ministry of Works will not do their work, for us as you, we shall come for you. And on a serious note,
bus owners led by their national chairman, Solomon Simire, accepted to comply with the orders, citing challenge of brokers in the terminals.
What was happening, because of the numbers, somebody comes because you've waited in a line, you cannot move. He comes, yes, I'll get you a ticket, give me 100,000. Then he goes to one of the companies, maybe he pays 60. But also, from the report that we've got, there could be some companies that went beyond 2 times.
However, owners of buses were quickly at explaining why they had to hike the transport fares.
Since we came out of the first lockdown, we've been carrying half capacity. Where a bus is supposed to take 65, now we only take half of that number. But also what compounded our efforts to evacuate the people was the traffic jam.
Ajunus Kakande, the permanent secretary at the President Office, promised to enforce this order with all RDCs and RCCs to see that pupils get their money.
They should invite them to come to the offices, register with their receipts, and then they contact your regional, because I'm happy that you have regional offices. Let's make sure that by Friday, my role is to direct my RDCs, and they are going on the radio tonight to start calling upon those students.
The refund order will be complied with by 18 bus terminals in a period of 1 week with immediate effect. Deborah Namamonde, Ivan Juko, UBC News.
Bus operators have applauded government for upping vigilance to ensure Ugandans travel to their villages at normal prices. They, however, request government to grant them extra days because the confusion at the start that led to the increase of fares caused many Ugandans to cancel travels, but are now ready to.
bava mu kibuga era bwe tunabaleka wano bajja kusanga bapakidde bava wano bava mukono bava Masaka bava bakuŋŋaana baagala kugenda twetwongere gavumenti twongereyo ennaku ssatu
ziganyiza n'ebitongole ebikwatibwako afande Nakalema tuwuliziganya bulungi bw'anaabaawo emergency tujja kwongera tusabeyo ate olunaku olulalira olwa emergency okulabika nti kafyu era bamwongerayo okumakinga sure nti abantu baawukana ne babeera nga abantu batono kubanga omulamwa gwa pulezidenti kulabika nti abantu babeera batono mu kitundu obulwadde buno okubeera nga tebukola ki ng'abantu tebasiigagana bulwadde so singa olwaleero abantu tetubamalaawo n'olunaku lw'enkya tuli beetegefu okuddamu okutuula n'afande Nakalema ate twongezeeyo kafyu ennaku endala nga bbiri.
Kampala Capital City Authority has taken measures to strengthen enforcement of Ministry of Health guidelines in the city to curb the spread of COVID-19. In this monitoring of the daily activities, city markets and city arcades are on the top list, and no physical council meetings will be held at the City Authority.
Under the guidance and directive to safeguard and protect the public against the spread of COVID-19 pandemic, KCCA has started enforcement to implement guidelines in the city. According to the resident city commissioner, Hudu Hussein, these guidelines have been ignored, leading to an increment in infection rates.
Now, access to public spaces and behavior. All entrances to the public spaces must have hand washing points with water and soap. This may sound obvious, but there are people who have decided to rebel. And remember that the president gave us only 1 week. So we are going to ensure that we reach out to such people who are violating these rules, and they will pay heavily.
We shall begin monitoring how their kids are performing, the markets, the border borders, the taxis. And again, depending on whether compliance is positive or not negative, different actions will take place.
Accessing City Authority premises will only be on appointment. The authority has also cancelled the physical meetings at the City Hall.
We are encouraging and moving forward to encourage virtual meetings. Physical meetings are not encouraged. The disease is killing a number of people.
Much awareness on the disease was key among the parties, and these received instruments by city investors to be used by city dwellers, who also pledged to work closely with the authority in implementing the guidelines.
Witnessed, hospitals are getting filled, our medical staff is getting weakened with the rising numbers of the sick. So if we don't come up as the private sector and help government or work together with the government to see that we eliminate this disease will never go away.
The authority urges the public to follow the set guidelines put in place to avoid facing penalties. Lydia Chomkama, UBC News.
National Private Education Institutions Association, Uganda, have expressed concern over the second lockdown of learning institutions, saying that it is causing a lot of certain uncertainties to the teachers, learners and parents. They want government to take over all bank loans that schools owe the banks and waive off local government taxes, as we hear in this report.
Following the second lockdown on learning institutions to curb the spread of COVID-19, teachers, parents and learners continue to share concern. The chairperson, National Private Education Institutions Association Uganda, Hassan Chirabira, says this has affected the sector.
This second lockdown of June 7th has once again caused a lot of uncertainties to our learners, to our parents, to the teaching and non-teaching staff, and the school directors.
Learning institutions have acquired loans to maintain the schools, whereby closing them created a big gap in recovering the loan. They request the government to take over all bank loans for all institutions that have active loans and waive off local government taxes.
We appeal to government also, given the situation, to help and undertake our distress loans, waive off the income.
According to the association, over 600 learning institutions have bank loans.
We have a good number of them, privy to mentioning. The number is exceeding 600. Actually, as I speak, it may go over 1,000 institutions that are on the verge of being sold or auctioned.
They call upon parents to treat and isolate the sick learners and appeal to government to accelerate the vaccination of teachers as well as non-teaching staff.
Mass vaccination. I appeal to the government to have enough drugs so that by the time we come back, every teacher and every child is vaccinated. I am sure many teachers, because there are teachers who are complaining already that when they go, there is no vaccine.
In another development, the situation downtown Kampala is getting back to normal, with a few people doing business and trying to adhere to standard operating procedures. Jane Ramcha, UBC News.
Residents of Kitgum Municipality in Kitgum District seem satisfied with the reappointment of Beatrice Anywar as State Minister for Environment. The residents described the reappointment of the reappointed minister as a performer. Beatrice was named in the Tuesday cabinet list.
The arrival of these ruling party supporters at National Resistance Movement offices in Kitgum was not just for fun. They were celebrating the reappointment of Beatrice Anywar. Despite her absence at the time, her supporters were in excitement with the praises to the appointing authority.
And we, the people of Kitgum Municipality, we are very happy because we love our mom so much, and this mother is like, I don't even know how to say, it's like a god for us, sincerely.
Anywar, who is the immediate former member of parliament for Kitgum Municipality, was voted out on 14th January 2021. Whereas voters are already regretting over this decision, they are satisfied by the reaffirmed role bestowed on her by the head of state.
Like during the Northern Syndrome, she was the one even cry for the outside world to know that the Northern Syndrome should be known to the world.
She was a powerful MP in our district, and we are happy again that as minister in our position.
Beatrice Anywar was first appointed State Minister for Environment in December 2019. After taking oath, she embarked on a countrywide tour of Uganda's ecosystems. Astonished by the rate at which water levels were rising on the lakes, she advised encroachers to vacate.
All these are illegal structures. They are in the water, in our lake shores, and they were not sanctioned by NEMA. But people don't listen. I think Ugandans, this is the moment of truth.
It is for such commitment that residents of Kitgum express optimism in her.
The whole of people of Kitgum municipality are regretting seriously why some few decided just to vote out of office.
What now remains is vetting by Parliament before serious work starts. Henry Okurut, UBC.
Countless people, including the clergy, have received favors, witnessed miracles, and some blessed after pleading for the intercession of Angelina Riaka, a young lady who died for her faith about 93 years ago. Angelina Riaka, formerly of Dabani, was cut several times by a married man by the name of Ndobida after she rejected his sexual advances in respect of the 10 Commandments.
We need big miracles through prayer, and those things are possible.
Christians and the clergy of the Archdiocese of Tororo are convinced 100% that the young Catholic girl who was hacked to death by a jilted lover 93 years ago deserves to be a martyr.
That she died, a martyr's death. So the people, the Christians of the Archdiocese of Tororo should get more information about that. I think that will help, and also the whole world.
The young lady from Daban Parish, Busia district, who is now among the females being proposed for the title of a martyr, was tortured by a one Ndobira and died as a result of the injuries at the Rural Hospital in 1927 at the age of 14.
Angelina Riaka, who was just only 14 years old. She was murdered. We could say she's martyred for her faith in God.
Many people are received many blessings, and many of them still are attracted to her. Though she being a village girl of those years, she was so convinced about the faith that she was taught, and she was really believed in what she was taught.
Now, among some Catholic female devotees who died for their faith and whose names are being proposed as martyrs because they lost their lives due to adherence to God's commandments.
She received the faith. In fact, we can say she kept the faith, and she stood firm for that one. So that is the challenge maybe to the young people of today also.
Some of these include Maria Matarida Munaku and Valeria Meme, sister and mother respectively, of Noah Magali, who were tortured and consequently died from their injuries in Mtiana.
We hope that one day she becomes a saint in the church, to become a shining star for us here, also in Tororo Archdiocese, that we have somebody who has made it there, whom we can emulate, and all of us go that way. That is my wish.
At the time of her death, Angelina Riaka was reportedly staying with her mother in Busia by transport after suffering injuries, and was subsequently buried at Agururu Parish, where St. Bruno Serunkuma Church was later built.
The lack that this church has is the grave of Angelina Riaka to be here. That is when we are expecting a bigger worshipping, that people come, go, and come to worship the grave because of favors.
Angelina Riaka is regarded highly in Tororo Diocese, and many believe she deserves to be bestowed upon the title of a martyr.
That she died a holy death. Her rosary is used for healing people. Wherever Father goes for sick calls, she goes with that rosary, and that rosary is left for that person to pray.
Currently, novenas for Angelina Riaka, who died for her faith at the age of 14, are ongoing and are meant to realize miracles, favors from her for final approval by the Holy Father for canonization, as is the norm for one to qualify to be declared a martyr.
Reverend Father James Wilman. And when they try the computer says, no such report exists in Rome.
The people who know a lot, the bones of the area, they have not come up properly to put the stories back. When they put the stories back, they are repeating.
During big days, to that grave, I don't know what to do. And the father said, no, you are saying lie, saying what? Just a few days also, I told him, if you have time, you can come and also see. Then when the Father Guru came, during that hour, at around 8 p.m., he also saw that.
Bishop Charles Martin Wamika of Jinja Diocese, formerly an auxiliary bishop of Tororo Archdiocese, is one of the promoters of Angelina Riaka.
We hope that something is going to be done. And I've been in touch with Bishop Wamika. He has shown a really interest in the story of Angelina Riaka. And I hear that there was a time he went to Rome to find out whether that information about Angelina Riaka's death had reached Rome. And the idea was positive that Rome knows that Angelina Riaka died in the Archdiocese of Tororo.
Sought the intercession of Angelina Riaka, and they were able to get healed from their sicknesses, and some lost articles were found through her intercession and prayers.
Every 5th day of May, Christians from in and around Tororo flock to the mausoleum of Angelina Riaka at St. Bruno Serunkuma Catholic Parish, Agruru, for devotion.
We get people from Bugisuland, that is Magale, Mbale, Namatala, and then Busia. They have assigned themselves always to have a pilgrim and come and have an every day here because their person is here. So people come from Nagongera, all this side here, from Budaka, they come here and pay their homage.
45 male martyrs were killed during the tumultuous years of the killings of martyrs, now remembered annually on 3rd June as Uganda martyrs. However, none of these is a female.
So this is one of the proud saints we believe that she has come out in this century, in 1913 onwards, in few years. But the people, because of their ignorance, they were not able to start the process.
So I firmly believe that Riaka and our Blessed Mother, maybe they're working together.
There is a slogan they use that with the face there is no joke. If I can talk it in the language of the local, they say, Iyeyo ongoyetuko.
Habimana Deo reporting for UBC News.
There is no joke with the face. So they are not joking with the face.
Habimana Deo reporting for UBC News about Angelina Riaka, whom is prayed for to be canonized a saint. We thank you so much for watching. Let's take another short break. On return, we'll have business news, UBC News Tonight.
Today in history.
Today, the 10th of June 2021, marks 123 years since the fight of the Battle of Guantanamo Bay that was fought on the 10th of June 1898. This was also called the Spanish-American War, in which the Marines backed the Cuban fighters and the Navy were in a tough situation, surrounded by an enemy 5 times more than their strength. A group of Providence merchants led by John Brown and Abraham Whipple led an attack on the ship and later burned it on water. Although the British authority investigated into the incident, the Spanish army never left up in the times of fighting, and the legend is that the Marines fought for 100 hours, and this was true for day and night fighting.
We've cut and reduced our MTN Momo withdrawal rates. Now you can withdraw mobile money at the lowest rates. You also get MTN Century Points when you deposit, send, and withdraw MTN mobile money. Visit our Momo agents countrywide and withdraw mobile money at our reduced rates from 1st May 2021. Everywhere you go, MTN.
In efforts to improve quality assurance and Uganda's destination, Uganda Tourism Board is set to undertake a nationwide grading and classification exercise of hotel and accommodation facilities. As a member of the East African community, Uganda subscribes to the East African Grading and Classification Criteria, a system denoted by stars ranging from 1 to 5. The grading and classification exercise will be crowned by the awarding of star ratings to facilities found compliant to the EAC minimum standards. This is therefore a call to all accommodation and facility owners and managers to register and get licensed by UTB as a requirement and get ready for participation. For more information, visit www.utb.go.ug or email qualityassurance@utb.go.ug for details. Uganda Tourism Board, promoting tourism together.
Echa COVID-19 chijja kugwa. If we get vaccinated now, observe social distancing, wear masks properly, sanitize or wash our hands with soap and water regularly. Together we can defeat this enemy.
Fruit farmers in Teso sub-region have appealed to government to expand Soroti Fruit Factory to enable absorption of all fruit harvests in the area. The team leader, Wegarden Farm in Gweri County, Yori Acheger, says that only 70% of the fruits is sold to the fruit factory, leaving out the rest. This was during the tour of operation wealth creation activities in the area.
These mangoes not only look good, they also taste good and sweet. It is just one of the products harvested from this farm found in Nabia village, Dokoro parish in Gweri County, Soroti district. The family farming conglomerate sits on a 63-acre piece of land, the largest percentage of which is dedicated to fruit farming.
So we opted for fruits, poultry, fish farming, and horticulture.
Oranges here, mangoes there, onions the other side, and tomatoes somewhere are a part of what makes up this farm. Upon harvesting these fruits, proprietors are assured of ready and nearby markets.
There is Hamelin, there is Valencia, and Washington. And those are the three main varieties that the factory also is taking.
Prior to establishment of Soroti Fruit Factory, they always sold some of their products to neighboring Kenya and Kampala, Uganda's capital city. Whereas they still do, Soroti Fruit Factory takes 70%, leaving out the 30% that is shared by other consumers.
Because as farmers we realize that we are producing, but there is nothing much that we are getting. Let's ask the government to give us what? The factory. Thanks be to God, government listened to our prayer and the factory was given to us.
But if Wegarden is the prince of fruit growing in Teso, then Orupe Fruit Growers Group is king. Here at Orupe Village in Kateta Sub-County in Serere District is a beautiful residential house next to the orchard. The house is not only used for residential purposes. Next to it is rainwater harvesting technology, which reduces the family's reliance on nature to grow fruits.
We first pull this water, we put up. Then from there, it supplies to all those blocks.
That tractor pumps that water from down. It pumps to up. There is a reservoir tank of 3,000 liters up. Then by gravity, it flows to gardens.
With the possibility of drought setting in, drip irrigation is employed through these jerrycans, which are attached to the trees.
Those white jerry cans contains fertilizer mixed with water. So when the sun scorches much, that water drips underground the tree.
The family farming group has benefited from such yields, and just like their wee garden counterparts in Soroti, they also sell to both Soroti Fruit Factory and other markets.
Our production is now maximized, because by then when we used to produce and the market was kind of fluctuating, most of the farmers were demoralized that now we produce, the surplus where to take.
In a bumper season where the yields are huge, we are able to consume 35%. In seasons, dry seasons, in funny seasons like this one which has just ended, we actually process and wait for farmers to deliver.
It is an initiative over which government is proud to have made impact. Lieutenant Colonel Francis Osama is the coordinator Operation Wealth Creation in Soroti District.
Wherever I pass, people really send gratitude to government for having brought a very good project, as opposed to the colonial times when they were relying on on cotton, and which cotton has to be grown only once in a year.
This, however, has not been without challenges. Besides the need to expand the fruit factory for creation of more markets, weather changes sometimes are not friendly.
The farmers have played their role of growing these fruits. The inputs were given by the same system, government, the seedlings, the farm support. So continuously, we shall continue refreshing the farmers as we grow our capacity. So we are working on the capacity issue also.
Nonetheless, government will promote development across the country to improve household incomes. Henry Okrut, UBC.
U.S. President Joe Biden has pledged solidarity with allies against the Kremlin's challenges to European security. The U.S. will stand with European allies against Russia, President Joe Biden said ahead of his meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin. Biden said he has been clear and direct in previous phone calls with Putin that the United States does not seek conflict. We want a stable and predictable relationship where we can work with Russia on issues like strategic stability and arms control, he wrote. However, he added, Putin knows that I will not hesitate to respond to future harmful activities. Biden is scheduled to head to Europe on Wednesday for both the G7. Biden is in the USA for both the G7. He's in the UK for both the G7 and NATO summits. He is expected to meet Putin face-to-face in Geneva on the 16th of June. He said his trip to Europe is about realizing America's renewed commitment to allies and to deter the threats of this new age. Biden said that Washington would play a global role in confronting the harmful activities of the governments of China and Russia. With that, we come to the end of all we had for you tonight. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Micheal Jordan Lukomwa with Elizabeth Nakakoni and the whole team. Wish you the best of the night. Bye-bye.